welcome to the Muscle of Yarn podcast.
It is Thursday, July 20th, and it is in the afternoon, and we are both a little bit tired and or punchy.
Hot.
Although we've got the AC going in here, but there's only just small air conditioners in here, so it's cooler than being being outside, because it's very it's the humidity for me.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mind it when it's hot. I just don't like
It's only in the mid 80s temperature-wise, but it's really humid.
Yeah, I walk from my house to my barn, which isn't that far, and I was like drenched with sweat.
I'm going to see what the National Weather Service says the humidity is, because it's ridiculous.
Okay, well, I'll tell them where they can find us.
Okay.
So you can find, we are a podcast about knitting, spinning, making, doing, eating. But you can find us online, all kinds of social media, Instagram, Periscope, where else are we? Facebook, Ravelry, all of those things as Muscle of Yarn. And, of course, our website is muscleofyarn.com.
And you can find, I'm Angela.
Yeah, she's Angela.
Did we say that already?
No.
Okay.
No, because we had to redo our opening.
Okay.
But we didn't even get there yet.
No,
in the first take. And I'm Kelly.
Oh, man. And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as a Junior Bird Kid.
And you can find me on Instagram as Kelly O Spins, and you can find me on Ravelry as Kelly Spins.
So, National Weather Service says the humidity is 46%, but I don't believe that.
40? No.
That's too low.
Yeah.
It's way
higher than that. Do
way
they have
warmer out there.
the dew point 62 degrees?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's
So,
higher than that.
yeah.
49? No.
Yeah, no, that's not. Anyway.
Somebody forgot to update that.
Yeah, I think they did.
So thank you to any of our returning viewers. We appreciate you guys coming back and spending a little time with us.
If you're new, this is normal.
Yeah, we go off on tangents quite a bit. You'll probably notice that in either Ravelry comments or the comments on YouTube. Most people are fine with us rambling on, which is good.
Yeah.
A lot of people say it feels kind of like being in their knit group, which is fun.
It's awesome.
So, but yeah, we've got some new yarns to show you today. We've got, I've got an FO. We've got a whole bunch of whips. We've got some events to tell you about. Some new stuff. Some stuff I'm going to be casting on before too long. So we got a whole lot of stuff to go over today.
So we should chop.
Yeah, and so next week we probably aren't going to have an episode.
I don't think we're going to be able to manage to fit it in.
Yeah, unless we can squeeze in an early morning or something somewhere. So if don't worry if you don't see an episode come out next week. We'll have one the following week for you, and that'll be the week right before we move. So, so we'll tell you all the details of that towards the end of the episode, because we're having a sale in store. It's going to be an in-store only sale, which I think we mentioned before. But anyway, so we'll have details of that.
Absolutely.
So
what do you have? You have some more spinning.
So I have my finished object is my spinning this week. So Tour de France, Tour de Fleece, both of them end on Sunday. That's when they ride into Paris with their champagne. And so I actually have finished my goal before. So I will show you.
Good job.
I know, right? But I decided this year, not knowing how much time I was going to have, I set a quite realistic goal. I'm like, I know I can get that done, and I left myself plenty of time. So the yarn that I'm going to show you is, it's obviously spun and plied, but I have not washed it yet and set the twist. Okay. So it will change a little bit, but total I got about just over 800 yards.
Nice.
So, and I haven't measured wraps per inch or anything like that. I spun it a semi woolen spun, so it's going to be a little puffier. So I thought originally it was going to be like a fingering to sport weight. I think it's going to be closer between a sport and a DK. So I'm going to start looking for some patterns. I think I'm maybe going to do like a big old shawl or something.
Nice.
With 800 yards. I can definitely do that.
That'd be a pretty nice one.
I can do a good size shawl, especially if I knit it more at a DK gauge on a little bit bigger needle.
Right.
So this is one skein that I did. So these are the color shifts. So this one goes, it'll be the cream, and then it'll shift into the green. It's hard to tell when it's skeined up how it's going to look. Obviously, I spun it so I know the order that's going in, but it is marled because I spun the Frabjous Fibers 3 Feet of Sheep, the tourmaline colorway with Wing and a Prayer Farm Shetland and Mohair blend. So it's going to have that marled. So there is one strand of a natural, like off-white color that I held all the way through it. This is the second skein.
Nice.
So this goes from, so it's basically like a pastel rainbow is kind of how it was when I was spinning it. So it started at like, well, kind of a beigey color, which doesn't really show up much because I ran out of when I was plying, I ran out of the Wing and a Prayer Farm because there was just a little bit less of that, which is fine. So, and then that's that one. So it went from like pinks down through purples to blue to kind of a tealy blue-green to green, and then it ended with like, this is a really pale, almost yellowy cream color. So when it was spun with a natural, it pretty much just
looked the same.
Looks
Yeah.
natural. So those are the three. So it'll be kind of cool once it's knit up. So I've got to give it a little soak and then set the twist, and then I will.
Do you just whack it?
Yep. Yeah, I will. Definitely helps to set the twist a little bit. And I applied it fairly loosely, but that I wanted a fairly balanced yarn, and that was what was going to give me a balanced yarn.
Well, it gives it sort of that a little rustic look too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can't wait to see what it's going to be like once it's knit up. And so now, if you guys have suggestions for patterns, DK weight, I'm thinking shawl, but if I'm open to other suggestions, and I have about 800 yards, so lay some patterns on me if you have any in mind that that you think would look cool in this. So, and it is color shift, so it goes from one color to the next. So it's not going to be a variegated or anything like that. So it'll be long color repeats. Yeah, so that's my finished object this week. And because I finished early, I'll show you really quickly. I got to keep spinning, because Tour de Fleece is not over with yet. So this is actually a loop, a bump of fiber from Loop that I got. I think I got this at Rhinebeck last year. So, I got to use up my Rhinebeck stash so that I can get more Rhinebeck this year. So it's one of her bullseye bumps, and that's that one. And I think this one's called Orchid. It is. And this is merino bamboo and tussa silk.
Nice.
So it's nice and soft, and it's going to be really pretty. And hers I do tend to like to chain ply, or either that or leave them as singles. So not sure what I will do with this yet, but start spinning it.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep on keeping on.
So do you have to make a decision before you start spinning how you're going to ply it, or do you spin your singles differently depending on how you're going to ply?
Yes, to some degree. So if I were going to leave that as a single, I would want to make it fairly balanced. You want just a little bit of over twist in it so that when you wash it and set the twist, even if it's not a super wash and I'm going to leave it as a single, I will sometimes full it just a little tiny bit just to kind of help keep those fibers together. I a lot of times won't do merino as a single just because it's such a short staple length.
Yep.
You have to make sure you get enough twist in it. There's kind of a fine line between getting enough twist in so that you don't, so that it doesn't fall apart on you.
Right.
And getting too much in where it's all overspun and you're getting a lot of kinks in it.
Because you can overply it. Right.
So that's kind of, and if I'm chain plying, I tend to put a little extra in, because then when you actually go to ply it, you don't want it falling apart when you're doing the motion of the chain ply, because because you're handling it so much more. it will have the tendency to want to break on you if you're not careful.
Okay.
So there is kind of, you do have to think about it a little bit. If you're doing a thicker yarn, you don't have to worry about it as much because there's so many more fibers kind of sitting next to each other that they hold together better.
Okay.
So that kind of changes it up. The thinner the yarn, usually the more twist you have to put in to kind of keep those fibers from wanting to separate. So yeah, it kind of does depend on what you're going to do. So it's good to have at least some plan going forward. So I'll decide if I want to keep that as a single or if I want to chain ply it. Most of the time I end up spinning stuff thin enough that I do want it plied.
Okay.
But I was gonna look. I don't know if that's a superwash or not, and that'll make a difference too. Because if it's superwash, then I tend not to do singles with them.
Okay.
Just because I like to, especially if it's a merino, because I like to be able to just full it just enough so that it will stay together
And when you
on
mean
me.
fulling, it's almost like
Fulling is partially felting it.
Yeah.
So not so the strands themselves stick together, but so that the fibers will stick together and create a stronger thread yarn. So yeah. So that's my only FO is just the spinning.
I was hopeful that maybe I was going to be done with this, but not quite. I had, if you're doing like slouchy hats, and I really wanted the brim to be able to fold over to be double thickness on the ears, or at least have that option. It's a lot of knitting, more knitting than you think.
I know.
So I'm just starting the crown decreases right now, which means that in about, an hour it would probably be done. But
yeah,
not quite.
It's looking good though. It's really
Thank
cute.
you. It's
really cute.
all the yarn with the fancy stripes, which makes it look super cool.
It does, but it's also it's nice to have one of those mindless projects that you don't really even have to think about. You can just kind of knit away on it, and
yep.
Especially in the summer, because I don't know about you guys, but it seems like summers. I always think about the holiday. Holidays are really busy, in the winter. But then once you get through the holidays, it's kind of quiet, and like the summer, there's weddings and there's parties and there's all these different things going on. So
absolutely. So I have no finished objects this week. I almost have. This is almost. I was gonna try, but I got sucked into my spinning, and because I was so close to finishing and having all that plied, and so I didn't grab my knitting, and I didn't work on that, but I'm very close. And that sweater is.
It is so close.
So close.
Yeah. So I can talk about this for a minute. So my fade sweater that I did, I tried it on. We tried them on simultaneously last week.
Yeah, we did.
And it is longer than I had intended to make it. And it's totally my fault. And it's not because I was off on gauge or anything. I was like, oh, well, I'll just do, 7 rows of each color for the faded, for where I'm transitioning the colors. And I wasn't really thinking about how big that would be. And it's like 1.5 inches. And so that adds a lot. So if you're talking about, the 3 different sections where it does that,
that adds like 4.5, 3.
5.5 inches. So which 4.5?
4.5.
4.5. Yeah, 4.5 inches, and so which is substantial. Yeah. So if I could, take that bottom color off, and it would actually be about where I had intended it to be. But I decided I'm going to leave it long, and I decided because I'm doing that, I'm going to do short sleeves because of how I would style it. And we don't really talk about styling things very often, but for me, wearing a longer sweater, I would wear it with things differently than I would a shorter sweater. Like shorter sweater, I could wear it with jeans and skirts and all kinds of different things. And a longer sweater I could too, but the style would be different. Like I could wear them with like my skinnier jeans and some boots, or
like I have a denim skirt on today. It's like a pencil skirt, and I could wear this with that. And for all of those things, I would want to have it be short sleeves and style a little differently. So my only problem with making the color repeats so long is that I ran out of yarn.
Oh no.
Yes, I played yarn chicken and I lost. So I got this sleeve done, and I was like, I was looking at my yarn, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna have enough to do the other sleeve, but let's just cast on. And sure enough, I didn't. I got everything done except for where the cuff is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually knitting the cuff out of color number 3, this one. So the ribbed cuff part of it. So I'm gonna knit most of it out of that. And then the last 2 rows, the last row and the bind off, I'm actually going to do out of this bright pink. So there'll be like just a little bright pink pop at the
just
end.
to tie it together.
Just so that it ties it together. It'll look really kind of cool, I think. And then, yes, I will have to pull this one out, but I'll just run a skinnier needle in around, pick up those stitches, pull this out, and then re-knit this in this color, and then with the last 2 being this color. So I think that'll look really kind of cool, and like I said, I'll mean wearing it differently, styling it differently, but I'm fine with that, and I'm gonna give it a go and see how it fits into other pieces of clothing that I have.
Yeah.
And
Because
go from
I
there.
definitely waffle back and forth with doing short sleeves with mine as well, but I think so let me bust mine out.
Yeah, and Ange did the really nice A-line shape to hers. Mine does not have that. Mine is straight. So when I block mine, I'm actually gonna block mine a little bit more wide a little wider at the bottom, so it has a little bit more of that.
Right.
Just because
you can see the A-line and the drape.
Yeah, you can.
And so mine is longer.
Yeah.
And I want that, right? Because if you have an A-line, you don't want to be
cutting
flashing
off. Yeah, exactly.
everybody with your belly or whatnot.
And exactly. And so, if mine was A-line, but the length it is now, it'd be fine with it. So I'm going to block it a little wider at the bottom. And so it is a little wider. And it would work better for my shape, too, because I'm more pear-shaped.
Mm-hmm, me too.
So it'll be better for me.
I think I'm going 3/4 sleeves.
Yep.
And if my math is correct, we'll find out. That would keep me, I think I know exactly when I need to transition. So I'm on my third color. I just melded and I'm now doing the solid third color. So I have 2 more colors to add in on the sleeves for the first sleeve. But sleeves go pretty quickly, other than being fiddly because you're knitting circular, but then you have this whole bulk that's sitting on your lap. I mean, I know there's some folks who, when they're doing top-down sweaters, once they get past the armhole, they will do the sleeves so they don't have the whole body of the sweater that they're...
It's funny, actually, Carol we were talking about that earlier, and she's going to do that. And more because she's like me, where sleeves are kind of your hang-up, and like when you have your sleeves, you're like, oh. But, if you get your sleeves done before, and then you also don't have all of the sweater sitting there,
right,
having to move it around. So.
I think with the fade, though, I think that would have been harder, because now if I start to run short on a color on the sleeve, I can easily transition, whereas if I started to run short on the body, I think it would look a lot different. Yeah. And not maybe as good.
Especially if your sleeves were already done, it would be a little bit.
But my sleeves are usually when you get about this much on the sleeve, you can twist them and then turn them back the other way, and so you don't have to keep readjusting the sweater on your lap. It's really when you just first attach them. So these are going. I haven't worked on them. I'm trying to keep really close track of how many rows I knit before I add in a new color, and then how many, because I want my sleeves to match. Yeah. I can almost guarantee you they still won't match, because that always happens to me. But at least I will give it the good old try to have them match as close as possible.
Yeah.
So
I actually counted the rows on mine, so I would know
That's what I'm attempting to do, but apparently I either can't read or I forget to mark down rows. I've done it in the past and my sleeves have not matched, or my gauge just changes.
Yeah, and sometimes that does happen. Your gauge will change from one side to the other.
But anyway, that's what the main two things I've been working on. I've done made a little bit of progress on clockwork.
Yep.
So it's a Stephen West pattern. Huge amount of
Color is
progress.
So pretty.
Huge, folks.
That color is so pretty,
Huge.
though.
Thank you.
It's really gorgeous.
I added in the second. I did two rows with the second color.
Mm-hmm.
And I was knitting this in the car, which was a bad idea because I had to keep reading the pattern.
Oh. Yeah, I
So.
can't. If I'm okay to knit in the car, but I can't really pay attention
I
and
can
read.
Exactly, and I was
the
having to
car.
read the pattern, and I was
Ugh.
like, ugh.
Yeah. I can do it for a minute, and then I
yeah.
have to put it down.
So this is fun. It's it's a great little garter stitch, colorwork, 2-color shawl.
Yeah, it's
So I'll just
pretty.
keep picking at that one.
Nice. So I've got Batad still, another Stephen West pattern on the needles, but I haven't touched it since last time because I've been just working on the spinning and my flax light and painting a chicken coop. Yeah, all my extra time has been going into that. My house is a disaster right now because I've been keeping up with dishes and some laundry, but everything else is just kind of sitting. So,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Eh.
Creative personalities, you know?
Exactly. You got more important things to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Like knit,
Exactly.
paint chicken coops.
Chicken coops. Well, they're getting so big, and I didn't take any more footage, but I'm hoping that we'll get the coop moved. So it's in my garage. My husband built it in our garage, and so they're getting so big for their pen that they're right now. So I'm really hoping that we'll get it moved on Sunday, and I'll take video when I move them into it, so you can see their reaction to their grand palace. So we're not even, my husband, it's so funny. So he's not calling it a chicken coop anymore. He's calling it a chicken house. And he started doing that after, while he was still framing it. So it's basically done except for painting, and then he's got to put roosting bars in it. So he started calling it a chicken house after he beveled the, I know, right? Yeah, it just, the words have left my head. The main bar that holds up the whole thing.
The
You
truss.
guys you're shouting
Truss.
at me, I know. No, the ridge basically the ridge pole that runs down the center. So he beveled that so that when he puts when he put the sheathing on for the roof, that it would lay right on it nicely. He didn't have to set it down, which is kind of typically how most places will, when they're building, when it's constructed,
A house.
they sit it down rather than bevel it. But he has the tools, and if you know anything about my husband, which you guys haven't met him yet, he does things in a very particular way. He doesn't take shortcuts anywhere for anything. It doesn't matter whether he's building or whatever he's doing. So he's very thorough. So so it's not called a chicken coop anymore. It's called the chicken house. And it's pretty impressive. And so it's built on skids so that we can move it if we want to.
Yep.
So he built it in our garage, which is good since it's been raining like crazy this year up here. And
So what I want to know is, are you painting a nighttime star scene on the roof of said chicken house?
That would be hilarious. No, I'm just to make it really bright inside, I'm actually just painting everything white, and I'm doing it in an exterior paint so that I can really scrub it for keeping it clean, and then also make it nice and bright in there, which will be good. Because it's small. It's big but small. It's a 6x8, so which some coops are even really tiny, but we wanted to make it big enough so that if we wanted to have more chickens than we do,
Yep.
we'd be able to, because I mean, it's a lot easier just to overbuild
Yeah.
now than to realize that we want more chickens and
Yeah.
not have enough room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's coming along. I have to get finished. I want to get the exterior painted first, because then if he wants to move it, because his weekends are kind of, a lot of them are spoken for, so I knew he has this weekend free.
Yep.
And that way, if I get the exterior all painted, then he can move it out to where it's going to go, and then I can work on the interior of it when it's after it's moved. So, yeah, that's been eating up a bunch of my time. But it's really cute. It's really cute.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely look forward to those pictures.
Yes. Yeah.
Or maybe that'll be, the podcast this next week. It'll just be a video
That's
of
right.
chickens.
I'll just send it to Anne. She can put it up, of the chicken video of the chickens moving into their new digs.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of the only thing I've got in progress at the moment. And I'll have some new spinning, and then I've got my 2 new projects that I want to do.
So I'm trying to figure out what I want to knit next. I think it's going to be some Rhinebeck sweaters
Yep.
for myself and Miss Abigail,
Yep.
who's also, we've started calling Sassy Pants because she's a Sassy Pants. So for me, it's Sassy Pants. So I'm trying to sort that out. It might be the Antler by Tin Can Knits cardigans, because they come in adult and kid sizes.
Yeah, Tin Can Knits are great about doing that. They
So,
give you a
yeah.
huge size range on
Yeah.
almost all of their patterns that they do. So if you're looking for, if you wanted to do like, mother, daughter, mother, son, dad, daughter, dad,
Yeah.
son patterns, or whole family patterns that were all the same, they're really, really good about giving a sizing from like baby all the way up to like 4XL, I think. Is a lot
Yeah,
of
no,
times
their
what
size
they do.
ranges are enormous.
Yeah, they really are, which is very cool.
So I've been kind of eyeballing that one. I've been kind of eyeballing. I get distracted. I go out onto Ravelry and I'm like, oh, I could make that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to decide if I want to do the same sweater and maybe different colors, or the same color, or if I want to use the same color but make 2 different sweaters.
Oh yeah.
So in a different style.
All kinds of options.
Yeah.
It's like the bridesmaid thing, whether they all have the same dresses but they can be different colors, or they all have to
Same
be
color,
the same
but
color
different
but can
dresses.
be a different dress
Yeah.
to suit their.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just
So-
what it reminds me of. I'm sorry.
So that's what I'm working on, trying to sort out. In the meantime, telling myself I'm not allowed to, I was going to say buy yarn, but that's a lie. That I'm not allowed to cast on something new until I finish a couple of these things, like this hat and that sweater
Yeah.
there. Because in a pinch, I could wear that sweater to Rhinebeck.
Yes, you could. Yeah, I could do the same with this one. Except Rhinebeck is tough because you never,
never know what the weather's gonna be.
It's been snowing before and it's been 80 before.
Yeah, and sometimes both
On
on the same weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Because we had that one weekend where it was snowing, and then the next day it was actually kind of warm and nice. It's bizarre. So
Weird.
yeah, you kind of have to plan to have a number of different things. Sometimes it's just a shawl is all you need, and then other times you need a big
Giant
sweater.
blanket. Good thing I have my fade.
I know, right?
Oh, take that. Wrap myself up.
That's
in.
right, you could. And if I get so one of the projects I'm going to do is the Starting Point, which I'm sure you guys have all seen Starting Point. Did I talk about this last week? I don't
think so.
I don't think so. So Starting Point by Joji Locatelli. And this was a mystery knit along that she did, and it is enormous wrap. And it's so funny, I'm not usually into like rectangle type shawls or wraps or that kind of thing. But the way this is constructed by basically making 2 triangular shawls, and then they're at the points, and then you pick up these stitches here,
and finish it. So for me, that's the only problem is you have to knit two
of everything.
but
Yeah.
but it's really intriguing to me, and I have colors that I really want to use. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will have already seen these. So this was the first one that was my inspiration, and this is a Legacy Fiber Arts, and this is one of their Skein of Thrones, and this is Hear Me Roar, and it's got these really gorgeous like blues, and it's almost like a deep colonial blue, and this really gorgeous red, and the rust color that's in here is kind of like a goldeny yellow. And so I knew I had these two at home. So this is Dubrovnik, and it's a Madeline Tosh, and this one is Liquid Gold, and this is a Madeline Tosh as well. These are ones that we had in the store, and they're on order, but who knows when we're going to see that order, because they take a while. So these two I knew right away, and then when I was going through Stash, this one, sorry, it's a little bit messy. This is Mexican Hot Chocolate from Woolen Vine Yarns, and this has that gorgeous reds in it, but it also has a little bit of the tones of this dark blue, the Dubrovnik, in there. So I think that worked really well. And then I was like, well, those are really a lot of dark, except for this one has, the brighter colors in it. So I said, what am I going to put with this that's
A little bit
would
lighter.
work? But there's a lot of this like really gorgeous, very soft pink in here, and I don't wear a lot of pink, but I really thought that would be nice. So
I was going to say, me neither, but then I remembered I had a pink shirt on last week.
I know, I had a pink shirt on yesterday. It's a little bit lighter than this, but this is a Fiber Stash petal, and it's really nice and soft. And I think it'll brighten it up a little bit, depending on how I want to, organize them.
That's going to be super fun, Kel.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be really pretty. And I think the colors will work well together. So I got lots of great feedback on online when I posted the picture. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to keep me busy for a while.
Yeah.
Because it's huge, and it uses up tons. It uses up, a large majority of your full skeins.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice that, I had to buy one new one, this one, but everything else were ones that were accumulating in my stash. They haven't been in there for that long, but
it's still nice to.
It is nice, and to have them all, work so well together. So I'm looking forward to getting that cast on.
Excellent.
And then I also want to get my Rhinebeck sweater cast on too, at least one.
Because you're going to cast on a new sweater.
I am. So once, I've been so good, you guys. So I have the yarn, and I showed it to you last week. So it was the New York, and it was the copper melange colorway. And so I'm going to cast on Anniversaire by Vera Valimaki, which I showed the pattern, I think it was a couple episodes ago. But it was in the most recent Pom Pom magazine. And so they did 2 different covers for that magazine, and depending on which cover you got, it's actually on the cover of the one I got, which is more of the white background. The one that has the pink background had a different sweater on the cover. But anyway, so once I get this done, then I will allow myself to cast that on and get the gauge swatch done. So this is very close. So it won't be long before I can get at least that started. And that's going to be a big process because it's cabled all over.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked to see if the wrong side rows are like rest rows,
Right, or if you're cabling,
or if there's cabling on those. A lot of sweater patterns, they will give you the wrong side rows as a rest row, which is kind of nice. But it's gorgeous, and I can't wait to get it cast on. And for anybody who wanted the New York in that colorway that I bought all of, don't worry, I'm gonna get some on order because I had a number of people contact me and really like that color. So we'll get that on order and get that in so that we'll have it.
Nice.
And it won't take too long. They're out in California, so it will take a little bit of time, but not too long. So those are my 2 projects, and I probably should get my batade done before I cast on my starting point, but my fingers are getting itchy. So
sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
I know. And that project, the batade, is nice because
that one, like, I don't even have to look at the pattern anymore.
Right.
It's so easy. You know, there's some short rows in it, but they're really easy, and they're, you know. So, who knows? I may just kind of save that for easy knitting when I want to be able to just sit down and not have to think about it.
Yeah.
But and then work on the starting point, since there's different lace panels and things like that I have to pay a little bit more attention to.
Exactly.
As like when I want to be engaged in working on that.
Right. I mean, I think what we found is we always tend to have a range of different projects on the needles.
Yeah.
I mean, I have things that are like I can sit and work on this, or you know, be on a phone conference and work on this, where I don't really have to think about it. I don't have to follow a pattern. I can just knit a little bit and put it down, to things where I need to be keeping track of where I am and following a pattern. So that's part of the reason why we have so many different projects on the needles at any one time, because they all are knit in different places.
Yeah, and for me too, sometimes I'm doing ones that will be solely shop samples, or they'll, you know, live here, and then eventually they'll be mine to take home. And then there's a lot of them that they'll, you know, I'll wear them to the shop, but they won't necessarily be shop samples that'll live here all the time, just because of either the pattern, the yarn, whatever. So that's kind of some of it too. Sometimes I have multiple things going on, for personal, for store, for gifts, for, you know.
I have some shop samples that are currently at the store that will go home at Christmas time, because they're gifts, actually gifts, but we're getting some use out of them in the meantime.
That's right.
So,
Yep. So.
yeah.
So, do we want to talk about new yarns in the store?
Yes.
So we have some fun new yarns in the store. I'll talk about this first. So Katya, we showed you, gosh, it was 2, maybe 3 episodes ago. We showed you the ombre kits from
And
from
Kelly knit the
Katya.
shawl out of.
Yep, that kind of bright reddish orange shawl. They are a mill, and they're based. They're a fiber company, and they're based in Spain. And they do some really cool stuff, and we're slowly kind of bringing a few pieces in at a time of theirs. But these are some really fun. This is worsted weight yarn, and it's a wool acrylic blend, so it's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. And they are really long color repeats in a worsted weight, which I thought was really fun.
Yeah.
Yardage is incredible. There's 590 yards on these. They're 150 grams. And they retail for, I think, $17.99 is what I think the retail on these is.
And they come with
a pattern to do a shawl.
So you can see the long color repeats there.
Yeah. They're really cool. So you could do a shawl. They'd be great for kids' clothing, because it is machine washable.
And I was commenting to Kelly that I could probably knit almost a whole sweater out of one skein.
So the only the only thing with doing a sweater is, because they're long color repeats, you either have to have mismatched sleeves, or you'd have to, you know, cut your yarn and work with it that way. So you kind of have to plan that out ahead of time. You know, you could do like a color blocked piece, or you know, if you didn't really care. Then you could do that. Or if you're doing something that was like a sleeveless or a
short sleeve
or something. Yeah. So these are really fun, and these are online. I've got them in the system already.
Cool.
So check those out. They are Katya, and they're called Paint. So if you just go to our website and search for those, and I'll also link this in show notes as always. So there's some really fun colors. I like
Something different anyway.
Yes. They are. They're different, and they're fun, and they're priced well, and have tons of yardage. So if you're looking for something, they make a really cool afghan, like a baby afghan too.
Yeah.
Because they're self-stripe, you could do just kind of a neat textured pattern, and it's washable. So that would be a lot of fun too. If you've got some there's so many people that have babies, are due with babies coming up in the fall winter months. So that might be something fun too. And then the other yarn, oh my goodness, this is so glorious. So this is Symmetry, and this is from the Alpaca Yarn Company, and this is an all U.S. made yarn, and it is 50% baby alpaca and 50% fine wool, and it's super soft, and the colors are like kettle dyed, so you can see there's variation in them.
So I guess apropos of what we were talking about before with one of our questions, this
Yes.
would be appropriate. You could knit a garment out of this.
Yeah, because it's 50-50. And it still has structure, and you know, we'll have some drape because of the alpaca, and it'll be super warm because of alpaca. So alpaca is warmer than wool, if you guys didn't know. It's super soft. I wish that you could like reach through it and like squish these because they're so amazingly
I know
soft.
Kelly came and brought these and popped them down on the table, and I was like, oh, that's nice. She's like, no, touch it. And I touched it, and I was like, oh.
And it's fun that all of the names are named after songs. So
Oh.
this is Out of Blue Comes Green, Little
Mellow Yellow,
Little Red Corvette, Fields of Gold.
Chantilly Lace,
Oh, we had the same one. Oh. And then Back to Black.
Brown Eyed Girl,
Yeah. So
and Stone Cold Crazy.
yeah, they're gorgeous, and they do some really nice yarns. So these are online too. So this is Symmetry from Alpaca Yarn Company, and
Nice.
these are $13.99. And let me tell you yardage.
150 yards.
150 yards, 50 grams skein. This is a sport weight. So, but they're lovely, and you could probably knit this. You could definitely knit this. It's a nice plump, squishy yarn, so you could knit this at a DK gauge too. Just have a little more drape to it.
Yeah.
But they're lovely.
Make
So
a nice
check those
shawl
out.
of some sort.
Yeah, yep. They're so squishy, soft.
So speaking of new yarn,
Yes.
it was apparently the final installation of the Skein of Thrones,
It was.
which was right on the heels of the prior Skein of Thrones. They were
Yeah,
like
they
back
came
to
out
back.
really quickly within a week or two
Yeah.
of them. Yeah, I swore I had mine with me, but apparently I don't. But it's okay. Ange has hers.
I actually remember to bring mine. Well, I hadn't even opened it. I had just taken the whole package and put it in my bag. So it's Weirwood, and it's a great. These colors are right in my alley. It's like
The
pinks
reds
and purples and reds
Purples and blacks and
blacks and grays.
Yeah, it's really
It's
pretty.
gonna be great. So
Yeah,
hopefully this really is the last one, because
I'm pretty sure because Sue said she likes odd numbers like five.
this is 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the 5th
And
one.
it's funny because I like even numbers. But it depends. So 5's a good number.
It is.
5's a good number, but like I don't. For some things, I really like even numbers. I think it's like an OCD thing or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably.
Numbers are like have been my thing. Like I can remember telephone numbers and people's birthdays and stuff like that. Like any numbery kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's weird. I don't know what it is, but.
I know.
So that's all of the yarny goodness
Yeah.
that we've got, I think, for this
is
episode.
Pretty cool.
It is.
Quite a pile of stuff
It
here.
is. You can't see the whole table,
I
but
took a
there's
picture.
just,
I threw it on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it.
Yeah. Between all of my yarn for the shawl and this new yarn for this store, and yeah, there's lots of yarny goodness going on here. And
Absolutely.
our fall yarns are, well, some of them are starting to come in now, like this Symmetry is a yarn we ordered for fall. But a lot of them are coming around the 15th of August, which we did purposefully because of the move that we've got coming up.
Yep.
We figured why have it show up and then have to unbox it, put it on the shelves for
And
like
then
a week and
move
then
it.
move it again. So, yeah, it's coming to the new location. So we'll just unpack it when it gets there.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah.
So in terms of events, the Great Northern Yarn Hall is still going on. It runs through this Sunday, the 23rd.
Yep.
And we've had some folks in.
Yeah,
and
we've had a lot of people in today
nice.
that are doing the yarn haul, and it's a great thing. So if you haven't started and you want to
You have 1 weekend left.
if you want to try to push to get to all 23 stores, you don't have to do all. A lot of people aren't doing 23 this year, but what I think Paula will do is if people don't get to all 23, they'll whoever sends in their
card and has
their
the most.
card and has the most. If there's multiples, they'll just draw from however many they have for the grand prize, which is huge because all of the stores, all 23 stores contributed, usually like a skein of yarn or something like that. So that's a lot of yarn.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So it's a fantastic grand prize, and most stores like us have door prizes too. I think we've got 5 different prizes. So when people come in to get their card signed, we give them an entry into our door prize. So when the yarn haul's all over, we're gonna draw from that too, and so you not only can you have a chance of winning the big grand prize, but you have a chance to win
At each
other
individual
prizes.
store.
Yeah. So if you haven't, you want to join. We still have plenty of bags here. With a $20 purchase in the store, you get a bag and you get your card and you get some little goodies from us. And you go around to the stores and spread the love, the local yarn store love, and show support and check out some new stores. That's what a lot of people are doing. Actually, I had a woman in earlier, and she said, she's like, I just wanted to go to the stores I hadn't been to before because some of them I had. She's like, I know I'm not going to get to all of them.
Yeah.
But she's like, I want to try to get to as many that I haven't been to before.
That's a great idea.
Which is really cool because there's a lot of new stores on the list this year. So that's very cool.
Awesome. So we also are going to have a store-wide moving sale. Sorry for those of you on podcast land who aren't here locally. It is in-store only. To just leading up to our move. So that's going to run July 21st to August 6th.
Yep. Starts tomorrow and it goes up until the Sunday before we move.
Yep.
Just to kind of get some yarn moving out of here, and also just kind of say thank you for everybody who's been supporting us along the way. It's a little thank you.
Exactly. Our store will be closed
2 days.
August 7th and August 8th. Those are the moving days. Online store is still open.
Yes. Online store will still be open. Orders probably won't go out until Wednesday or Thursday. We are going to reopen on Wednesday, so we'll pull everything off the shelves if you order online, and then we'll ship it out just as soon as we get back up and running.
Yep.
But yeah, so it's a Monday and Tuesday that will be closed. So if you had plans to come up here, don't come on the 7th or the 8th.
Nope.
Because we can't sell you anything because we'll have everything mostly packed up. So that's that.
Exactly.
We'll be reopening on the 9th, which is a Wednesday, if all goes well, but we'll keep you up to date if, God forbid, something happens. We'll post everywhere.
We'll be fine. Given how things went when we first opened this, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be open on Wednesday.
Could be worse than.
Nope. We don't open till 11 anyway. We're fine.
Yeah.
And then we've got some exciting news.
We do.
So we're going to do a grand reopening celebration. You can tell we like parties. We do like that. Parties.
Anything where we can have food.
I know. There'll be food.
Food and yarn, I mean, you know.
August 19th.
August 19th. Save the date. It's a Saturday. We don't have the time of it set out yet.
Just plan on all day. Just plan on all day. We're
But,
here from 10 to 5.
Once we get more details, we'll definitely be sending out more info on that. But at least save the date for the 19th if you want to come up and check out the new. Well, obviously the store will be open before then. But this is kind of like our, hey, come and check out the new space and
we are going to be having Green Mountain Spinnery joining us to do a special trunk show.
Yeah. So they're going to bring up some yarns that they don't wholesale. So they're yarns that we don't normally carry. They've been doing some indie dyed yarns on their bases, which is really cool. Some like neat speckled and different dye patterns, stuff that they only sell in their retail store. And they'll probably bring some yarns that we don't stock, so that or some other colors that we don't always stock. We can definitely order just about anything that they do wholesale. Well, we can order anything that they wholesale, but sometimes it's nice just seeing things in person. So come on out. They'll have some samples knit up. We're going to have food. It's just going to be a great day. So, and we're really looking forward to having Green Mountain Spinnery join us because they're a fabulous Vermont company that we really, really like.
Yep.
So.
And then we've got a Rhinebeck bus. Rhinebeck bus.
We do.
So it is filling up. So if you want to go to Rhinebeck with us, make sure you buy your tickets soon. We are more than happy if you want to have your kids come too. We have one of our regular knitters is coming with her 2 sons. They are a little bit older, so it's
Right.
I would recommend them, being at an age where they can sit for long hours, because the bus ride is 4 hours, 4+ hours.
I am not taking my children on bus. I will not torture other people like that.
Yeah, so I mean it is long, but everybody's kids are different.
Yes.
So if you think it's something that your kids would enjoy, and they could stand being on a bus for a total of about 8 to 9 hours, that's round trip.
Yeah.
Then we're more than happy. We'd love to have them come along too, and
Yeah.
it's a family-friendly event. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
stuff going on.
Absolutely.
All kinds of fun animals. There's children's activities. All kinds of great stuff for kids. So
Yep.
don't feel like that. They can't come, or that they're not welcome, because we'd love to have them. So we've got space filling up, and grab a friend, come on
Yeah,
the bus.
It's super fun. If you haven't been to Rhinebeck
is.
before, it is an experience.
It is.
It's like a pilgrimage.
It is. And it is a long day, especially, riding down the 4 hours and then
Yep.
spending the whole day at the fairgrounds and then
Yep.
riding back. But it's definitely worth it. It's so much fun to do.
Yep.
So check that out. We've got the link in our show notes for that. And so that's Rhinebeck.
Yes.
It's
And
the 21st of October.
21st. We finally got it right. We know which weekend we're going. We've got a couple of knit-alongs that are craft-alongs that are rapidly coming to close. So the end of this month, July 31st, our Legacy Fiber Along, Fiber Arts Along comes to an end, and there's been some cool entries in
I'm
the
almost
Ravelry
close.
page. I know.
I'm gonna be finished for
Yay.
because this is Legacy Fiber. It's this first color.
Yay. So we have that one, and then we have the Spring into Summer Shawl knit along,
I never got mine done.
which there's at least one that's been done, and I know of a couple more that are on the needles that are probably they got to be pretty close to
I would think so.
being wrapped
So
up at
make
this point.
sure, if you have done it, to
Yes.
get your entries into the FO thread on our
Yes.
Ravelry group,
Yep.
and so you'll be eligible to win prizes.
Mm-hmm.
So just definitely make sure you do that.
Yes.
Because odds are looking pretty good for winning prizes.
They are. Yep.
Yeah.
And
so
then
those two.
I think we finally decided on what we're doing for our Rhinebeck.
I think so.
Our Rhinebeck along.
Rhinebeck along.
Rhinebeck along. I think we're gonna do it as a cable along.
Cable along.
Cable along. So if it's got a cable, it counts.
Hat, mittens, shawl,
sweater.
I'm knitting a sweater
I
with
don't know
lots
what
of
I'm doing.
cables.
I'm doing something. We'll create a bundle.
Yep.
And start throwing some pattern suggestions in there for
To
things.
start getting your
creative
mojo
going.
Yeah.
So that's gonna start August
1st,
1st.
which is a week from Tuesday.
Yep.
So it gives you a little bit of time to gather your yarn, gather your patterns, figuring out what you want to do.
Yep. And it will run through October 21st. We should let's just run it the whole weekend through
so
October
the
22nd.
since that's the last day.
Yeah.
Because you could
Be
wear
finishing
it
stuff and wearing it
on the very
at
last day.
minute.
Some people they tuck
Wet.
their ends in, or wear it wet. Some people don't block it; they just tuck their ends in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny if you go on Instagram or Ravelry or something.
There's lots of
right before Rhinebeck. There's all this big
Yeah.
push for people to get their stuff done. Like sometimes buttons aren't sewn on.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that your Gather Together sweater? You didn't have the buttons
I didn't
done?
have buttons done.
Yeah.
No. There was no buttons on it.
Yeah. See, so if you can wear it, it's done.
Absolutely. Done enough for this knit long crochet along. So to also apply for crochet along,
Yep.
If it's got cables, it counts.
Yep.
That's, I think we decided works in progress are allowed. And we are going to do extra entries if you
Bought the yarn from
if
us.
you bought the yarn from us.
Yep.
We're still sorting out the number of extra entries,
Yep.
but we'll make it worth your while.
Yeah. Yep. We'll we'll get a thread up with the rules and all the different things.
Yep.
But we've got a
Yep.
a week and a half
Yep.
to get that all together for you
And
guys.
then we were going to do extra entry points if you post pictures of yourself in your knit over
right.
that weekend.
Yeah.
As well.
Because we'll do the drawing after that weekend, obviously, because it's open through that
'Cause
weekend.
We can get stuff. We can get prizes.
That's right.
At Rhinebeck.
We'll bring you some authentic Rhinebeck wear if you don't get a chance to go to Rhinebeck this year. We want to get some
Absolutely.
fun prizes from Rhinebeck for you guys.
And we'll still use that. I think we'll use the hashtag MLY Rhinebeck along.
Yep.
Because that
It'll work.
no matter what.
It will work.
So I think that's what we got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about the symmetry. We talked about the Katya. We do have a couple shout outs for people.
Oh, excellent.
We want to say a special hi to Bonnie from Ohio. I'm
Hi, Bonnie.
sorry we weren't here to see
I
you
know.
on Monday. I usually am here on Mondays, and
I'm usually not.
yeah, she's usually not. But I wasn't here on Monday, and so we're sorry we missed you. And but we want to
But
say hi.
thank you for
and-
saying hi to Carol.
Yeah. And thanks for stopping in. We hope you
Yeah.
had a fun time in the store, looking around and checking out
Yeah.
all the lovely yarn. And I just want to have say a special shout out to two very dear people that were just diagnosed with cancer, and both of them watch, and you know who you are, so I'm not gonna say any names, but I just wanted to send you our love and wish you guys all the best, and we'll be thinking of you, and yeah, so and with that, I think we've about reached the end. We're
Yeah.
just about an hour. We try to keep it right around an hour for you guys. I know sometimes
We
some
go
people,
over,
yeah,
'cause we just
sometimes we go
blather
over. And I know some people have like some of the shorter episodes that we've done, but since we don't have an episode for you next week,
Just think
You
about
could-
think about finished objects Kelly and I might have in 2 weeks. Now I just
All of
jinxed
them?
it. I'm gonna mess up something.
I'll have my fade sweater done.
I better this hat will be done and that sweater will be done.
I'm kind of hoping it cools down a little bit, and then I can
Yeah.
actually wear my fade
That would
for
be-
the
that
next
would be
one.
awesome.
But I mean, who am I kidding? It'll still be
It'll be
August, which is like really hot.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
So we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, and please stay
Stay in touch.
stay in
on
touch with us on
social
all the
media.
social media, because we haven't gone anywhere. We just have a bit of a crazy week next week. Then we'll get to you the following week, and then
Yep.
afterwards, the week after that, we'll be coming to you from our new location, which we're really
We have a
excited
new
about.
set.
We'll have a new space, new set, and then I don't know if it'll happen that week, but we'll have to do another tour of the store for you guys, and squeeze it in
Yep.
somewhere
Yeah.
so that you can see the new digs, because it wasn't that long ago we just did a tour
I know.
of this store,
I
but we want to get it all situated over there, and
Make it look pretty.
yeah, it's gonna be a nice spot for us, so
It will be.
we're looking forward
We're
to it.
excited.
Yeah,
Excited to move.
yeah, it's all good, and it'll be a crazy hectic little
Few
bit of
days.
time, but it'll be worth it, so.
Yeah.
And then we'll come to you from a couple doors north of here. So, yeah. Do you have anything
Sweet.
else for this week? Are you good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, we will
good.
see you in a couple weeks, and hopefully with some FOs and new cast-ons and
Lots of exciting things.
lots of goody new things. I'm sure there'll probably be some new acquisitions because
What?
let's face it.
I have no willpower.
Yeah.
And Instagram.
And we're really bad because we'll be like, oh, did you see so-and-so just did an update, or did you see... Yeah, it's not...
I have more than one Skein of Thrones skein because of Kelly, and I'm sure she has more than one Skein of Thrones because of me.
Yeah. Well, we did end up getting all of them.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, I would have missed.
Because we
I would
reminded
have
each other.
missed some along the way.
Yeah, I know.
So.
This last one I totally would have missed. I was like, what?
I know.
But anyway,
Anyway.
I'm still just rambling on, so sorry. But yeah, we will see you in a couple weeks. We
Yes.
might get a little bit of a chicken clip in for you next week. But if we don't, then we'll put it in the following week when
Exactly.
we do an episode. So
Exactly.
thanks for tuning in, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll stay on touch with you guys. Instagram, Ravelry,
Yep.
all the normal fun places, and
Exactly.
make sure you get your
Entries in
for the knit alongs, because
cross
that's
along.
gonna kind of, it'll close before our next episode.
Yes, I will.
So make sure you do that, and then if we have our act together, then we'll actually get them
Drop
drawn
prizes.
for before then.
I know.
So
And by act together, we mean Thursday when we show up to podcast, we'll be like, whoa, what are we doing?
yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway. Shh, don't tell the secret, right? It looks so smooth.
Yeah, right. All
Till
right.
next time.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Ready, ready. Yeah, it's going to be that day. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Muscle of Yarn podcast.
Yes, it is.
It's Thursday. It's July 20th. And it's
Episode 50.
it is.
Woo-hoo.
Guys, we made it to a half a century.
A century. Well, if we were doing 1 year.
Oh, okay. We made it to 50 episodes.
Yeah.
I think
and-
my brain is broken.
I know. I just finally decided to get some coffee because I was like dragging.
Yeah.
And I don't even have my microphone on.
We should probably do that as an outtake.
It's buried under the yard. Oh my god.
Actually, we just keep recording. I'll just cut it off and throw it on the end for an outtake.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
At the, 10 to 110.
Right.
Are we ready? Take two.
1:15. Remember that.
Okay.